Sports Lake, right?
Yeah, dude. Why don't you leave it up here then?
I don't know. I was told to take it off, or I'm going to get diluted out of it as well.
You have good taste in clothes.
So do you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Game Day Battle, where Cleveland sports news meets biased and outspoken opinion. We got the whole Game Day crew back. Brett's back with us this week.
So regulate this because my arm's out.
Out of the shot. All right, I like it. So Brett Finnegan again back this week after Finnegan again. And we got Ramon Torres, DST. I think we're going to be lucky enough to get a rumor mill tonight, right?
Yeah, buddy.
Right.
Some hot news off the press.
Fantasy Factor, I think, as well. GDB League, we're going to kind of go over that a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
I need some tips now.
See, oh, yeah, I know. We still have to target Dan Levinson. Everybody remember that. Target Dan Levinson. Ghost of 1957. So, some Buckeyes as well. You're going to give us a...
yeah, we'll talk about some Buckeyes today.
Segments.
Segments in the house.
Segments are back. So we're gonna do a little bit of that. We're also going to, of course, talk about the Browns' big win. We're all happy about that. Brownies, all right. Yeah. And we're gonna look ahead for the Browns. And we weren't gonna talk about the Indians this week, but we wrap it up next week. Well, yeah, they just get blown out like 14 zips. So we're gonna go ahead and just wrap it up this week. I think it's over. So we're gonna hit the Indians, and we got to talk about our Buckeyes. Good week for them this last week, but our real test is coming up. So. I say let's get at it with some orange and brown. Let's do it. All right, so I think we're all pretty happy with Sunday, right?
Yeah.
All right, the Browns have more love. That's a lot of love, Dale.
I was there, man.
You were
there. From it. I'll tell you what. It was the greatest sports experience of my whole life.
Outstanding.
It was just some random, mid-season game, but third row, both touchdowns, right in 15 feet in front of us. I could have hugged MASSAQUOI, and it was just a really great experience to watch us come back and get the win like that late in the fourth. So
why didn't you jump down and celebrate with him?
A guy fell over, and I'm glad I wasn't him. That's all I'm going to say.
He get gently escorted off.
They cuffed him up right off the rip. They seemed cool about it because it wasn't like he was drunk going out there to streak. He just fell over because he was probably drunk and
on
his streak.
Yeah.
They still cuffed him? Yeah, they cuffed him.
Yeah, I think they have to.
A lot of people cuffed throughout the day. We saw two when we were walking in, separate incidents, and then during the game we saw another side where a guy was getting taken out in cuffs. So they don't mess around, man. You can get drunk, but don't be a fool.
Yeah, I think so.
Or lose your cool.
Well, but you had a good day down there. I know you said that, like as you said, you were real close to the catches. Yeah. That puts you. Were you at the very end, or
section 113, row 3, seat 1? So I could run down 5 steps, and I was down there patting the brown pads.
That's awesome.
Right when we were down there, it was loud. It was amazing.
And there with some Miami Dolphins fans.
Yeah. Here's to my brother and his Miami Dolphins crew that came up for the game. We went tailgating at 9 a.m. It was really good. Really good time.
Well, at the beginning of the game, I think we were all a little bit unsure of what was going to happen. And there was 3 points scored in the first quarter, and that was by Miami. So it was looking at least better because you and I, Dale, I think had predicted a big offensive day for Miami.
Yeah, definitely.
And that wasn't happening, so that was nice to see. But things started to feel a little bit different, though, when Cribbs grabbed that ball and we go up 7-3. So that was nice to see Cribbs get involved and to see us sort of take that initiative early on. And I personally, my opinion of the game is they got to hand it to the defense. They gave up a decent amount of yards, but they were still able to keep points off the board. Various different ways that happened, but I'll take it. I mean, it wasn't a great defensive performance in my view.
Right.
But it gave us just what we needed.
I want to give some props to our defense. I think we stepped up from what we've showed in the first 2 games. Our defensive line was really there this week. We weren't getting pushed around. We were filling the holes. Daniel Thomas had a good day. Almost put up 100 yards against us. I think combined their running backs might have went over 100, but we didn't let one guy blow us apart. Props to Joe Hayden. I mean, anybody?
Oh, Hayden.
Yeah, Joe.
3 weeks now. Aside from that play against A.J. Green, that one bad, play, he allowed only 4 from 66 from Reggie Wayne, only 4 for 43 from Brandon Marshall. So that's a real good start for him. And yeah,
I'm going to the other side of the ball. Hardesty, big hole to fill, came right out, and basically we've been waiting 2 years to see this guy play.
Yeah.
And finally, he's out there on the field, and he looked good. Once he hit them holes, man, he sprinted the field, man. He almost got him, but big day from him. You know, I bet he was happy to be out there. Like I said, like you guys were saying, defense was amazing. And Colt McCoy didn't let that first half bring him down, man.
No, he didn't. He looked good all the way up to that last drive.
Oh, yeah. So,
Brett, do you think that this was the first game that McCoy's had to play without the Rhino? So do you think McCoy's maybe a little uncertain in the beginning, maybe a little?
This is what I was going to say, actually. We've had 9 weeks of training camp, trying to learn a whole new offense. You know, Colt McCoy's young, second year, still trying to learn that West Coast offense. He's going to have games like this. He came out in a 2-minute offense at the end of the game, and we scored. We won the game. You know, he had great potential. And again, with Ramon said, I mean, he didn't let the first half get to him. That shows great leadership and, you know, kind of like a veteran aspect to him, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, what's up, GDB fans? Welcome to the Week 3 edition of the Fantasy Factor, where I break down last week's fantasy news and help you break some tips on some free agents to try to give you the edge in your fantasy league if you guys are having some trouble. All right, Week 3, it was big. A lot of big guys throwing up big numbers out there. A lot of receivers going off. Our Player of the Week award is going to go to Wes Welker out in New England. He caught 16 balls for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know, people were asking who's going to be New England's #1 wide receiver. I don't think they need one when they got Wes Welker, who can play #1 slot. He could probably even come in and block as a tight end if you wanted him for. The guy is amazing. He's a football guru. So big props to Wes Welker. Put up 53 points in my league, just to give you an idea of how we score. I want to run you guys off some free agents right now. It's very important that you try to grab these guys. Week 4 and Week 5 is when free agents start to dry up. So you want to try and grab these guys early if you can. Quarterbacks, with 14-man teams, that would be 28 teams. That's going to leave only about 4 free agent quarterbacks. So it's kind of hard to go out there and see. You're just going to have to look at your own waiver wire and try to pick a guy who's available for you because so many leagues are so different. So quarterback's kind of tough. Running back position. Here we go. Out in Kansas City, Jamal Charles injury. Thomas Jones stepped in last week, but they really started running Dexter McCluster. Now, he's listed as a wide receiver in most leagues, so you might even be able to start him at the wide receiver position and actually have 3 running backs. But he did carry the ball 15 times for about 50 yards. He caught some balls, and he's a speed demon, and he's a threat whenever he has the ball in his hands. So I'll try and look for Dexter McCluster out there in deeper leagues. Out in San Francisco, Frank Gore has not been himself this year. He says he's got some ankle woes. Maybe it's just San Francisco's offensive line, but Kendall Hunter kind of showed some flashes this last week. No spectacular performances, but running backs are so dry this year that you want to try to get your hands on any potential stud that you can grab. So keep an eye on Kendall Hunter, especially if Frank Gore goes down. At the wide receiver position, I got 2 similar stories of guys who blew up this week. They were both stepping in for injured starters, and they both stole the show. All right, out in Baltimore, we had Torrey Smith, who filled in for Lee Evans, who might be out for 2 or 3 more weeks, so look for another strong showing from this guy. He started out 5 receptions, 152 yards, 3 touchdowns. His first 3 receptions in the NFL were for touchdowns. Is that not just amazing? I mean, this guy's a playmaker, and even if Lee Evans does come back, look for them to keep working this guy into the offense. So try to target Torrey Smith. Also, Victor Cruz was filling in for the concussed Mario Manningham with the Giants, and he had a stellar preseason back in 2010, and then he was injured with a hamstring injury. But a lot of Giants fans have been waiting for this guy to get some time on the field, and he burned Nnamdi Asomugha, and that's no easy task. So big props to Victor Cruz. 3 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, if you're in a deeper league, try and keep an eye on him. Also, Lance Moore out there in New Orleans. Didn't play the first 2 games. He came back, went right back to work. 9 catches, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. With Colston out, any receiver you can grab from the Saints, you know, he's a bonus. Tight end position, I like James Casey out in Houston. He caught 5 balls for 116 yards and 1 touchdown. Nothing too flashy in the first 2 weeks, but like I said, if you're desperate, you want a guy who's capable of putting those numbers. He clearly showed that he is. DST at GameDayBattle.com for all your fantasy football questions, or you can hit me up directly on the Facebook site. I'm on there a lot, and I'd love to interact with you. Hopefully help you guys get that W. So I'll see you guys week 4. DST and the Fantasy Factor. Out.
Going on with Ron again. I'm still looking for Monterey Hardesty. He had a good game, don't get me wrong, but that guy could be a running back in the NFL. I mean, he could be a stellar running back in the NFL. Just give him some more reps. You know, that's another. We have one great running back. I won't say great, but we have one of those. You know, Monterey Hardesty after Hills if he goes out, and he proved a lot to me this past Sunday.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed by him too. I mean, he went out there. I think he was 14 for 67. That's almost 5 yards a carry, and 14 carries is a pretty decent workload. You know, I would have liked to see him maybe get 20, but we were in a position where we had to pass towards the end of the game there. But he also caught 3 balls. Nothing flashy, but he didn't make any mistakes. He didn't turn the ball over. Same thing with Colt McCoy. He did have that interception. It was only his first turnover of the year, so let's not fall on the guy. But he came back. Both of those touchdown plays, they were broken plays that he made happen. He was breaking out on the right and tossed it up there and let his wide receiver make a play. And fortunately, this time around, they both came down with the ball. So it was just great to see. A lot of questions out there without Peyton Hillis, but I think Hardesty filled the role. And I think now he's probably going to drop down to that between 5 and 8 carry a game guy. But I mean, that's his role right now.
Our tight ends, might I say, they did good for us too. A lot of key plays, a lot of third downs that we needed toward that end that we needed to get, and they came through. And that showed me a lot too with those guys. Like Evan Moore was out there making plays, Watson as usual. I'm glad to see that. Kind of like that double-headed tight end tandem they got going. So
absolutely,
I'd like to see that more into play. So they don't know who you're gonna hit.
How about a guy named Robisky? Is that a thought?
Wow, that was a rare sighting, man.
Yeah.
That was a rare sighting.
No, I mean, don't we want to see this guy get involved more in the offense? And what does it take to get this guy?
What I've been hearing is that he can't get open. And that's basically why he's not getting thrown the ball. The guy does not know how to get open. He's a beast on the slants, the quick 5 to 10 yard route slashes, stuff like that. But on the deep ball, stuff like that, he can't get open.
Yeah, he's not going to thrive on this team. I love the storyline. I love us drafting Buckeyes players. I wish we would draft some other ones aside from Robisky, but I don't think he's working out as an NFL player. And I'd like to see Greg Little step up into that number 3 slot. And I think he's got more potential and should be getting some more playing time. This is Robisky's 3rd year now.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, sophomore year is usually when wide receivers start to break out, and if they haven't really broken out by their 3rd year, well, chances are they're probably not going to.
Well, you have to remember, though, in his first year, he didn't play a whole lot at all. He got benched a lot. This is technically his 2nd year.
But, I mean, if you would have came into training camp and, wowed some people, then he probably would have been on the field, but he wasn't wowing anybody.
I really think Robisky's going to be a great slot receiver, 3rd down receiver.